Hey, good morning, fuckers, and welcome to another day at the Daily, the one and only BM. Wait, depends on who you ask. If you've had your BM or not this morning, but you haven't had your dose of the BM, the only BM that matters, and that is Brad and Mike. And as I say that, welcome, Mike.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Daily BM.
Welcome back. Why do I always, when everybody says that, I always think of Welcome Back, Carter, an old show from the 70s era. With John Travolta. That was like John Travolta's, I want to say it was one of his first sitcoms, was Welcome Back, Kotter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
Vinny Barbarino. That was his name on the show. It was basically about a bunch of high school kids in New York. I want to say they lived in the Bronx. Don't quote me on that. But he was Vinny Barbarino.
Vinny Barbarino.
The classic John Travolta type laugh. But
that was way before my time.
Yeah,
that's not even ringing a bell.
You. Here comes the old jokes. All right, dude. Literally,
it's not an old joke. It's not an old joke. I honestly don't remember it.
64 seconds in, boom. It's before my time, old man.
I honestly don't remember it.
Yeah, most people won't. If they're over the age or under the age of 45, they probably don't know the show. If you're over 45, you might know it.
I'm 47.
That's what I'm saying. If you're over 45, you might know it, but you'll definitely know it if you're over 51 years old, because it's definitely your time as a kid growing up, because that was what was on TV, along with a few other shows like BJ and the Bear. You probably remember that one.
Bear, no.
It was basically it was about a guy who drives a semi truck across country.
Oh, really?
And he has a chimpanzee as a partner.
Then why is it called BJ and the Bear?
Because the name of the chimpanzee was Bear.
Oh,
yeah, I know, dude. That's hooray for Hollywood!
The good old days, man. The golden years.
I know
of
you
remember
these, the golden era of Knight Rider, Chips. That was more your gen.
Knight Rider.
Did you ever sat and watched an old '80s TV show just for nostalgia and laughs?
They're
it's
bad.
So bad, dude.
I tried to rewatch Airwolf, and I just couldn't do it.
Oh, God. But you know what? Don't lie, bitch. We all thought that helicopter was cool as shit.
Oh, it is cool as shit.
It's like, it was the first one that had stealth technology.
Yeah, I still want one of those. They're like $5 million to own one of those.
Would you redo it? Would you re-outfit it and refit it to look like Airwolf?
No, I'll just
you wouldn't lame it out like that, dude. I totally would.
Oh, I could never do that.
And then you show up at Sun and Fun in Lakeland, and it's Sun and Fun flying, come around the corner. What did it have? That thing that would put it into stealth mode, whisper mode, or some shit like that, didn't it? Where you couldn't hear the blades spinning.
Yeah,
you'd be like. I just remember it would shoot rockets and the doors would open up on the bottom, and they would drop that. It would drop that 3 cannon type thing to shoot rockets out that looked like flares.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was like countermeasures getting fired.
Chafes and flares. Yep.
And then, of course,
I don't know. I kind of miss shows like that, though.
Yeah, as a kid growing up, they were really cool. I mean, like I said, Knight Rider was really cool. The stupid thing that goes across. I remember when everybody in high school wanted to get that thing, the LED that went across like him. There was a little stage for about a year.
Oh, yeah, across the front of the car.
That Knight Rider bar underneath their hood.
Knight Rider bar.
Right in the grill of the car. So they could go, hey, kid. It'd be like, but Michael.
Michael.
If you really look at the inside of the car now, if you ever Googled Knight Rider car and inside and looked at the controls, they look like the space shuttle. Dude. It's all pneumatic, up and down switches.
They had Knight Rider at Orlando MegaCon. One of the actual stunt cars, so you could actually see it. Yeah, they had that one. They had the one from Supernatural, which was cool. That's a cool car.
It had the plane steering wheel. Like the ones that you see on planes, but they had it in the car. What was one of the things that Knight Rider had that was it like some type of nitrous boost or some bullshit? I don't know. I just don't remember that. Made it go
you flew through the air, you could jump, kind of jump and fly.
But it was I guess, for the time, that was the car to have. Wasn't it like a black Pontiac or something like that?
Trans Am, wasn't it?
Was it a Pontiac Trans Am?
I think so.
The only Trans Am that I thought was worth this, or actually, was it Pontiac? Yeah, Pontiac Trans Am was the Firebird. where they put the bird on the hood. Every kid growing up in the 70s and early 80s wanted a Trans Am Firebird. That thing was badass. It had like a flaming bird on the freaking front.
That's what Knight Rider was. It was a Firebird Trans Am.
It was a Trans Am, but just didn't. It was all black. Just didn't have the.
Didn't have the Trans Am. I didn't have the Phoenix on the top of it.
Phoenix. That's the word I was looking for. It had that freaking fiery Phoenix on the front.
Didn't have the Phoenix on the hood. Yeah,
that was such a cool ass car.
T-top.
Hell yeah, Burt Reynolds, bitch. Smokey and the Bandit.
That was good.
The good old days. That's when Sally Field, she was kind of a hottie back then too, man. Tiny little thing, little spinner, even back in the 70s.
Oh yeah. It's Did you ever watch the reboot of Knight Rider, like Knight Rider 2000?
No.
The car that had the wheels that like inflated, it became like an off-road vehicle. It wasn't as good. No.
I can only imagine. I feel like when they try to reboot something, 9 times out of 10 they fail on reboots. Yeah. It's just because it's so hard to compete with the nostalgia of an original, like from decades ago. Like, so when you try to bring it back, unless you've never seen Knight Rider or you've never seen Airwolf or, any of that stuff. But for somebody like our age, when they bring something back from our era that we were raised in, it's kind of like you're automatically skeptical of what the end product's going to be. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I walked into James Cameron's Star Trek reboot, the Kelvin timeline, I was a huge skeptic sitting there. I was like, they're going to fuck this up. That was the first thing in my mind.
It was good.
I know, but what I'm saying is the first time I walked in, I thought, and I sat down, I had my popcorn, my drink, and I was sitting there. I remember exactly who I was with. And I looked over and I'm like, they're going to fuck this up. I just got this gut feeling. And boy, was I pleasantly surprised how well they did on that reboot, on that first one. Nailing the actors. I mean, we've talked about it before in the past, so I won't harp on it too long. But I just feel like when they reboot stuff, they usually 9 times out of 10 fail on them. It's just hard to beat that nostalgia feeling. But I want to kind of change gears because there was something I wanted to talk about. What do you think your love language is? Have you ever tested yourself to find out what your love language is?
Yeah, it's acts of service. It's my number one.
Acts of service. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Number 2 is words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is physical touch.
Right.
Number 4. What's number 4? I can't remember. Number 5 is gifts. I can't. That's off the top of my head. I don't have them in front of me.
Yeah, the last time I did mine was physical touch first. Because that's important to me. I know, right? I knew you were going to say that, of course. I wasn't talking about banging.
Quality time.
I mean, I wasn't talking about banging.
It's physical touch, then quality time, and then gifts was last.
Physical touch can be a hug. It can be you lay down on the couch next to me, whatever it might be. But then you also have the other one was, affirmation. Being
words
told.
Of affirmation.
You know what I mean?
So your number 1 was physical touch, and number 2 is words of affirmation.
Correct. And then, of course, number 3 was quality time. I feel like sometimes women think that men should always be men. You know what I mean? But the reality is we need attention too,
Well, you can be a man and still need attention.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is some women think that you're just too needy. You know what I mean? So it's kind of I
think it's how you deliver the message. That makes
so how would you deliver them? So elaborate on that a little bit for me. So when you're saying it's all about how you deliver the message, what message are you trying to
if you're always hold portray? Me, give me a hug, feel me up.
Hold me? What guy says, I want you to hold me?
How do you tell your wife that you want physical attention?
Well, first I unzip my fly. I'm just kidding. No, that doesn't work ever. So I don't do that because it never works. I usually get the eye roll. You know what I mean? Whenever I go.
Worked pretty good in prison. Wait, what?
It worked really good at cell block 6, but it doesn't work at the house. You know what I mean? The guys would raise their eyebrows all right. Cell block 6.
Let's go.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, how do you go about asking for attention?
Yeah. That's a tough question. That's why I was asking you about it, because I'm kind of confused, I guess you could say, on how.
I'm like a whiny little cunt about it.
Are you really a whiny cunt about it when you ask for attention?
Yeah, of course.
Do you ask for it, or do you like do something to kind of like drop a hint, like drop the love bomb, so to speak?
Both.
Wait, oh, okay. So
like it's like both. Like I try both.
Okay.
Like, you know, like
which one works the best? Neither. Neither works. That's why I'm still exploring.
Neither one of my approaches works. It's always like, ow, ow, you're on my hair, or
ouch, you're on my hair. Neither works. That's why I'm still exploring
we're like, why are you squeezing me so hard? Or do you have to slap my ass that hard? It's like that kind of shit, you know?
Good God, I thought you lost weight.
Yeah, I haven't got that yet.
Here, let me get on top.
I haven't got that yet. No,
I'm just.
That's not a part of it either.
Oh shit, man.
But yeah. So, I don't know. That's a good research topic. That's something that I'm still learning. Now, I have got to tell you, since I've been focusing more on myself as far as my physical fitness and spending quality time with myself to like improve myself, I have noticed that the wife has started to come to me more,
which is a natural thing,
and wanting affection. So it might simply be as easy as turning your focus on yourself and just focusing on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want to interrupt you. So they'll start coming towards you.
So let's elaborate. Okay, well, hold on. Let's elaborate on that a little bit. So when you say, like, when you started to focus, so I take it that's happening to you, correct?
Correct. Right now.
Okay.
Yes.
So
as we speak,
when you say that once you started focusing on yourself, they're coming to you, what is it that she's doing that's making her like come to you more? Is it because of the fact that you're just not paying attention? I mean, can you elaborate on that a little bit for me?
Okay, so in my theory, my working theory, but I don't have enough data to like back this, but my working theory is that because I'm not acting like I need it, or like the physical touch, or acting like chasing it as much, like chasing after her as much, and now I'm focusing on myself and like focusing on my goals, it's making her want to chase me.
So would you say it's a little bit of a game? A love game?
I mean, life's a game.
True. It's all about how you play it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all about wins and losses.
I would say life is like chess. You play at chess, right?
Yeah.
Would you say it's more like chess, or would you say it's more like checkers?
Oh, life is definitely chess.
Because the more strategic.
So the difference is, like in checkers, like you can make a bad move in the beginning and still recover. In chess, you can as well, but the problem is the more losses that you stack up in chess, the more it hurts you later in the game.
Oh,
with checkers,
I've never been a chess player.
It's always still like a balanced game, because your regular pieces can only move one direction and only jump one direction, and your kings can move both directions. But it's still kind of balanced. Does that make sense? Like, it's still, you can have like, even if it's 4 on 5 pieces, like there's still a chance that you can pin pieces and get ahead. But as chess moves on, you can force people to keep making bad moves because you're pushing them in the direction you want them to go. And that's kind of how life is.
Interesting. So,
yeah.
So when you're talking about love language, you made an interesting point. The minute you started focusing on yourself, you noticed the chase became more towards you being chased versus the other way around. Maybe that's a good way to
a little bit.
I guess that's a good way to like look at it, because sometimes I have a tendency to chase too much, with everything. So if you stop the chasing and focus more on the action, taking the action for yourself, it might be a reverse fortune for you if you're having that struggle at home. You know what I mean? Or, even in the dating world, I mean, back even dating, you have a tendency, I don't know about you, but were you more laid back on dates? Like, can you remember, like, when you started dating your wife, right? Your current wife, when you started dating her, did you put in, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say effort, but did you put in a lot more on the chase because you were trying to win her over, or did you kind of do what you're doing now, where it was like give her just enough and then she chased you while you were dating? I mean, how did that work for you on that category?
I think with my wife, it was basically probably 50-50 because we were both mature,
Right.
so it wasn't as much chasing. It was more, we kind of just felt really, really comfortable with each other on that very first date.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of wanted to spend time together. So there wasn't a lot of gameplay.
Okay. So it got right to the point kind of deal. You was like adult, got to the point. Hey, we like each other. We're gonna date.
Yeah,
Yada yada
like
yada.
it was like more from a mutual understanding, like spiritual, like deeper place than just that initial lust that you sometimes get, like thinking of like the Notebook, when Noah first sees Allie and he's like, I just have to have her, even though he knows nothing about her.
Right.
It's that love at first sight, and then you go chasing after somebody with lust. Like it's different when because you were there when we met. Like you set us up, so it wasn't like neither one of us were looking for any type of relationship. So neither one of us were in like a chasing mindset. Like I have to have this. Like I think both of us were in pretty good places. She probably a little bit better place than me. But neither one of us wanted to be in like a relationship. Like needed to be in a relationship. Wanted to, yes, but needed to, no. So yeah, I don't think the chasing was there.
So would you say when you were, because you've been married what, twice? Right? Twice?
Yeah, this is my third marriage.
The third. Okay, so on your first, would you say lust was more involved in your first marriage? Or would you say it was more, or because you were talking about on your third marriage that was that way?
No, I mean, my first marriage, like my first wife pursued me pretty heavily.
Okay.
When we were younger.
All right.
Because we worked together, and she wanted to date me for a while, and I kind of was just putting her off, and then we started dating, and then we were dating for a little while, and her parents wanted to move, or not wanted to. Her dad got a new job out of state, and it was my first wife's last year of high school.
Right.
And I had just recently graduated, and I really wanted out of my parents' home. Desperately wanted to get out of my parents' home. So when her parents gave us the option of renting their place down here so my ex could finish her high school year, we kind of said, yeah, that'd be great, and then we moved in together, and we lived together for, I want to say like 4 years before we got married, about 4 years. So
it's interesting you say that, because like in my first marriage, she chased me too.
Yeah.
Like in the like straight up. I mean, like walked up to me at a nightclub and said, "Hey, remember me?" And I had no idea who the hell she was. Couldn't remember. I mean, I know it's actually kind of not fair, because when I was serving tables at the time, she came in with her family. She was recently going through a divorce. I asked her if she wanted to go hang out sometime. She kind of like blew me off a little bit, but then she saw me back out like 4 or 5 months later, and around Christmas time, and then she pursued me at that point. You know what I mean? So maybe there's just a mix. And then, obviously my current wife, it was kind of like she reached out to me first, and I didn't reach out to her. And then the rest is history. And then I think it was kind of like you said, kind of an adult thing. I was a little needy because we dated and then we split up for a while. Right. So I was very needy back then, like super needy, like what you said. Oh, can you give me a hug and sit on the couch, please? You know what I mean? I was like that, dude. I was very, I went through 17 years of marriage and then had a divorce. You know what I mean? Met her a year and a half later. So it was like still fresh to me and still kind of, and then when we got back together, I was a little bit more, it was more of a kind of a mutual, I mean, even though she reached out, it was still kind of a mutual thing. So I totally get it. I was just wondering, because like everybody's going back to the love language thing. Everybody talks about love languages and things like that. But I feel like even if you know the love language, like even if you like test a love language, I find it hard to still learn that language from the other person at times. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like
how so?
Like because I think people over time change.
What's your wife's love language?
I'm not going that route. I would say hers is like she's more of a gift giver than she is an emotional toucher. I always, we have a standing joke in the house, which is she's a Vulcan. She lacks emotion.
Well, yeah.
So she's hard to read.
I was just asking what.
No, well, she's just hard.
So you haven't asked her, or you haven't had her take the test?
I don't. She hasn't tested, but we talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like what we thought hers is, without her actually taking the test. Honestly, but hers, basically hers, from what I'm seeing from the outside looking in, just as that, she's emotional, but she doesn't show it. Like unless it's something
that's not a love language.
Well, then what would you call it?
You have the 5 languages. You have gifts, words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, and what was the last? Did I say words of affirmation already?
Yes. Okay, if I had to say that just from the ones you said, I would say it would be quality time, gifts, words of affirmation,
acts of service. Sorry.
Yeah, I would say probably quality time would be hers. Number 1, like wanting to always spend time together.
Right.
2 would be gifts, because she's a gift giver. She's always been that way. Like she'll just buy me random gifts. She'll buy her friends random gifts. You know what I mean? Things like that. Right. 3 would probably be acts of service. Like she'll do things from time to time. You know what I mean? The next one would be not touch, but oh my God. It was the other one.
Words of affirmation?
Words of affirmation. She would say that first, and then it would obviously be touch. Touch is last for her. Where that's a really yin and yang for her, because touch is my first. So it's really difficult for me at times, because our love language is somewhat different. You know what I mean?
They're polar opposite.
We're polar opposites, so it's a little tough at times.
I mean, Tracy and I are opposites because her number 1 came in as gifts.
Right. And you're totally not a gift guy.
And for me, gift registers as 0.
Correct.
Like an absolute 0. Like I did not answer one question as a for gifts. Gifts don't. I actually really don't like receiving gifts, to be honest with you. So yeah, like you have to focus. Okay, so like for instance, my wife, I know it's gifts and words of affirmation. Those are her 2 highest. Physical touch is her least. So for me, it's better to give her a reaffirming text than to give her a hug, because the text will register a lot higher on her love language and give her a lot more confidence than a hug will.
Interesting.
So you have to learn what motivates them, and then do more of those, not motivates by them, but what fills their love tank. And you have to work more in that realm, even though if it's the polar opposite from you. Like for me, giving gifts is, I don't think about it, but for her, it's really big. So I make it an effort, I put in the work to make sure I get her flowers at least once a week, little cards, a couple times, send her little affirming texts, make her breakfast in bed, things of that's which is also like an act of service. Buy her little trinkety things that are just meaningful but not super expensive. They don't have to be elaborate to be meaningful. So it's that kind of things, and I feel like it's helping in the relationship.
Good. So that's the advice you would give people.
And you can't control others. So what you have to do is you have to give first without expecting to receive. And then hopefully after you've filled their love tank, it'll start overflowing and they'll start giving you that love back. Because the worst situation you could be in is, and I've been there, is where you're complaining that your love tank's empty and they're complaining that their love tank's empty, and you're both just sitting there complaining and not doing anything about it. Or, you're trying to fill the wrong love tank. There's a video game that I played. It was called Dragon Age. I don't know if you remember it. Do you remember it?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So basically, the context is not really important, but you have to build up your team. Like you get your team, and your team has how much they, basically love you, or how much they align with you. And the higher that they align with you, the better they'll be, the more traits you'll unlock, the more powerful of a teammate they'll be.
Right.
The way you go about it is you have to listen to them in the stories that they tell you, like when you have dialogues with the character in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you pick up gifts like trinkets throughout the realm, you give it to the right person, it will increase that meter by a lot or a little, or it could even go negative if it's the wrong type of gift, you know? So you have to learn like each person's basically their love language, not the love language, but what their unique traits are. And you have to give them the right item in order for that to grow. And life's kind of like that, like if your wife does not like physical touch and you're bombarding her with physical touch, it's going to be a negative. It's going to detract from her love tank, not fill her love tank.
Right.
So,
good points.
I mean, in an ideal world, it'd be to find someone that has a similar love language to you, because then you'll be able to feed off of each other.
Right. In an ideal world.
So, because, if yours is number one's physical touch and her zero is physical touch, then every time she's giving you physical touch, it's draining from her love tank at a higher rate than it is filling yours.
Interesting.
So
good points. All right. Well, so what advice? I guess we'll leave on that. That's pretty good advice. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you got anything before we get out of here, man? You ready to roll?
Oh no, I think that was pretty good way to end the conversation.
Yeah, I think so too.
Figure out what your partner's love language is. It's, have them take the test. It's short. It's fun. And then have a conversation about it. And at least you'll have the tools, and have them take it, maybe once a year or once every 2 years, because people do change. Priorities move. Like, here's the thing. It's funny. It's kind of like Maslow's, I'll end on this. It's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. As you're going through the different levels of your needs, that need, once you get that need satiated, like the very first one is like, food and shelter. Once you get that satiated, you move to the next level. So same thing with love languages. Like, once you get satiated, it won't be as effective. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't buy 52 gifts a year for my wife every day for the rest of her life and expect there's a point of diminishing returns where that next gift does not bring as much love and affection as the previous, because that part of the tank will now be full, and then she'll start transitioning to the other part. Because we all need all 5 of the love languages,
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's the shift. So obviously just retest, at least once a year, have discussions. It's good to have discussions in your relationships like this, because it helps you grow as individuals together. And if you're not growing together, you're growing apart. It's as simple as that.
Well, we need to talk at the end of the show.
Yes. Oh, God.
Anyway, guys, great way to end, man. Don't forget, hit that like, subscribe button down at the bottom. Don't forget to head over to thedailybm.com too. Go check that out over there, in case you want to see some stuff over there that we got. Other than that, Mikey, got anything else?
No.
All right, guys.
I just want everybody to have
Sorry. Go ahead. I thought you said, "Oh no," and then you started talking. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I hope everybody has a great day and they get after it and get everything that they want out of life today.
There you go. And with that, we'll bid you adieu. We'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Deuces.